Okay, so we're going to be rebuilding this guy today because first off, the display is broken, but this thing's hacked. It has a time clock in it. It's not supposed to. This thing is just butchered. So, oh, okay, there's my flashlight that I lost the other day. Cool. So, yeah, we're going to be going through this thing, redoing all the electrical, trying to get it back into normal operating condition. So I'm trying to make sense of what they were doing here, and that time clock had just like disintegrated when I tried to pull it off the wall. But it looks like they were just disconnecting this solenoid valve with that time clock. I don't know why, because this thing has built-in defrost into the controller. So we're yanking all that out, putting this back up to factory specs. For now, I just got all the sensor wires disconnected. We're gonna install new ones, and then they go into a new spot. The factory said they relocate them into the glycol reservoir. And then I'm just trying to get this wired back up. It looks like back in here, there's some burning going on this switch. So we'll see if we can fix that too. I'll see if I can't get a switch real quick at a hardware store nearby. Get this thing dialed in. So we're just gonna get the time clock taken out first, and then once we do that, we'll start getting all the parts replaced. Hopefully get this thing back up and running. This is my backside where my reservoir's at for my glycol. There's my pump. You can see this thing could use some insulation in here. But what I'm told is that these new sensors are no longer running through the cabinet, and they're being located into this reservoir all the way down in through this T, and they need to be placed down here in the bottom in the return airstream of glycol. So this is the return flow. So I've got to get these two sensors down into that flow. So that's my chore right now. Okay, so this is kind of tricky trying to get these all the way down into there because the sensors keep bending. So what I did was first off drill the hole in the cap, because there has to be a hole, and we'll seal that with silicone when we're done. But then I taped a zip tie to the sensors to keep it straight, and then I marked where the sensors need to go to. Okay, so now I just kind of feed it into this guy, and then just very carefully fish it around until I find the hole. And then once I find the hole, we'll get it pressed down into there. So it just takes time and patience. It's kind of a chore. You just got to kind of fish them down there and then push it down in, and then I'll silicone that so that way it's sealed. There's still a breather hole on this guy too on the side, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay, and the last thing we got to do is you got to take that yellow sensor wire, which I already did, and splice it, because you can't get to the old sensors. You can't rerun them because they're encapsulated in foam. So this is all per the factory. You cut and splice that yellow sensor wire. Try to make it, you know, about the same length. Don't want to go too much longer because you can add resistance to it. But yeah, so that's good. So now we're going to turn the unit on and check it all out, see what's going on. Okay, so we're up and running now. The evaporator fan motors are spinning. Reading any error codes. Our cabinet's at 37. So we're good. Everything's looking good. I'm gonna watch it operate for a little while. Looks like the sight glass might be slightly having some bubbles in it, but I'm gonna let it run before I add any gas. And yeah, we're looking pretty good so far, so we're just gonna watch it operate. I'll get that old timer housing taken out of there. And this guy looks like it's back up and running like it should be. You want to be careful adding gas when you have a sight glass that looks like that, because give it a few minutes, it might just clear up. So, and if it doesn't, then you can top it off, but I bet you anything I let it run for a minute, it will clear up. So you got to be careful on toggle switches. This one's a 20 amp. It's very rare that you can find a 20 amp, and it has, it's like 12 gauge wire, maybe it's 14. But you got to make sure you get a toggle switch that has a high enough amperage. This one's kind of nice because you don't got to make the connections. So let's see if we can get this thing wired into this guy right now. So I cleaned up the wiring, got the toggle switch replaced. As I was getting ready to leave, I saw something else. Right here in this back corner, right back here, look at this. This wire, the jacket's missing, and then I pulled the plug off. Look at that. So I'm not going to be able to get a replacement connector, so I'll just go ahead and splice that. But yeah, this is probably because this thing had been running with a high head pressure for a long time. Dirty condenser. You're gonna find this kind of stuff. That or it could just been a loose connection, but we'll get this all spliced and taken care of too. Always want to keep your eyes open. Look at the big picture. Okay, so we're back up and running. Closed everything up. Everything's going, you know, corrected. Zip tied everything up. Tried to make it as nice and neat as possible. Everything's good. That stupid time clock cover is like super glued on the wall, so it's not coming off. But yeah, everything's looking good on this guy. Temperatures are great. I found that toggle switch at the hardware store. It's satisfied when I got back, so we're gonna have a nice operating box now. Now we've got like 3 or 4 more that have been butchered. I'll take you over and show you another one. This one is another one of their boxes. Look at it, it's just a mess in here. Everything's disconnected, just butchered. I don't even know how they have this thing running right now. Pressure control. So it's operating at the moment, so we'll just deal with it when the time comes. What a mess though, man. These people that were taking care of this store before were ridiculous. What a mess. This was a service call on a Kairak Blu prep table. The complaint was the box was not getting to the right temperatures. It was actually getting too cold. When I arrived, the original problem that I found was that the unit had a bad digital display. It was broken and it had water damage. And then also the temperature sensors that the display reads were basically indicating to the display that it was a lot warmer in the box than it actually was. Okay, therefore, the refrigeration system was running consistently, basically 24/7, and it was freezing all their product inside the box. So, as I've worked on a couple other units at this particular location, the box itself was just butchered. The previous technician or service company had added a time clock to the box. There was no need for a time clock because the digital display or the temperature controller that is on the unit actually has defrost built into it. So when this unit is working properly, there's no need to add an external defrost clock to the box. Nevertheless, I brought the box back up to factory specs. I found several burnt wires inside of there. Repaired that, went ahead and I had talked to the factory. When I called them to verify the unit wasn't under warranty, I also let the tech support guy know what I ran into and what I was finding. And then he kind of agreed with me that we were just going to start from scratch. So I replaced the digital display. I replaced the relay module. I replaced all the sensors for the box. And I replaced the wiring harness that went from the digital display to the relay module. After I did that, they had me relocate the sensors to a new location. So 2 of the sensors went into the glycol reservoir, and then one of the sensors I put back into the box and just spliced the new sensor into the picture. Other than that, you know, it was just kind of cookie cutter. Just put the box back together. As you guys saw in the video, I'm always looking at the big picture. That's when I found the burnt wires in the back, and then also saw that the power switch had some burn marks on it. So I went ahead and replaced that too. As you see, there's about 8 of these boxes at this location, and they're all kind of equally in just as bad a shape. So we'll slowly be making videos about the other ones too. Kind of ran it by the customer, and they just want to wait until they become a problem. So the other ones are maintaining temperatures now. How, I don't know, but as they become a problem, then we'll start basically converting them all back to, you know, what they're supposed to be. All right. Right now, you should see some other channels that I really suggest you guys check out. They've got some great content. And that's it for today, guys. We'll see you on the next one, okay?